Aujourd'hui, je suis invité à Paris par Polaroid pour... Attends, c'est pas...
Polaroid just released its brand new camera and I was lucky enough to try it before everybody. My name is Thomas App and I am a French film photographer. That's the very first video I do in English. I'm not used to speak English on a daily basis. I watch series and films, so I'm used to listen to it, but I'm not used to speak English and to speak photography in English. I hope it's clear enough for you. I want to thank Polaroid for trusting me, releasing this camera for the French community, and I thought I would share it with you too.
Aujourd'hui, je suis à Paris parce que je suis invité par Polaroid pour la présentation d'un appareil photo qu'on ne sait pas ce que c'est. Oh, il est beau le van. Il est très beau le van. On ne sait pas ce que c'est. Ils disent que c'est un appareil photo qui est fait pour la perfection, mais pour l'imperfection. C'est le premier événement genre top secret auquel je vais. J'ai pas le droit de vous en parler là. Normalement, j'en parle. Dans 2 mois, vous êtes en train de voir ce que je suis en train de filmer. En gros, là, nous, on est début juillet. Vous êtes début septembre. Déjà, j'ai dû tenir ma langue tout ce temps. Tout ce temps. Mais vas-y, premier événement invité par Polaroid, ça fait plaisir. J'espère que le produit est bien parce que sinon ça va être compliqué. Je suis invité à un workshop pour tester leur nouvel appareil.
I was invited to a workshop and the Polaroid team introduced their new camera, the I-2, which is in project for 5 years now. It's a high quality Polaroid camera that uses I-type film and Polaroid 600 films. FYI, Polaroid 600 was designed with a built-in battery to operate older cameras, and for a few years now with the brand new Now and Now Plus cameras, the Polaroid cameras have built-in batteries that you can charge with USB. That's why they created the I-type with no batteries in it. That's cheaper than the Polaroid 600, but you could use a 600 if you have vintage film somewhere in your fridge. During this workshop, I had the chance to speak with the Polaroid team that worked on the project, but at first, when I got the invite, was quite intriguing and I had suspicion.
Le pitch marketing qui dit que c'est un appareil où dans l'imperfection se cache la vie, faut pas pousser. J'espère que c'est pas juste un baratin marketing qui a quand même un petit kiff technique. Ça se trouve, ils n'ont pas prévu de faire quelque chose qui soit tout à fait grand public. Ça se trouve, c'est quelque chose juste pour une clientèle de photographes haut de gamme. Enfin, je sais pas, des artistes qui ont du coup un budget qui n'est pas le même.
First of all, I was the only French YouTuber. I was with 2 journalists and the Paris-based photographer Carlin Jacobs, which work is amazing. You should check it out if you haven't already. We got to try out the camera. My first impression were that the optical quality was amazing in studio for portraits. And I loved the way the camera looked.
It's really good, right?
So sharp.
Did you do this morning? Yeah. Wow.
So what she does before coffee.
I'm like, whoa.
We don't have the same morning.
Yeah. No, exactly. I was like, that's the same necklace. Yeah.
You have the same t-shirt.
Wait.
You can go through the menu navigation with a selection dial that's on the lens, and also on the lens you can find the EV switch that allows you to over or underexpose the picture, and it reminded me of the SX70. On a design level, it's a camera that's designed around its components. And we had the chance to see a prototype that lets you see through. Everything is organized on a Marie Kondo kind of way. It's quite neat, and still it's pretty easy to have it in hand. I was surprised on how light and compact the camera is. This is a weird feeling.
Yeah, to be in front now for once.
No, being in front of a camera is not a problem. Et parler en anglais aussi, parce qu'en fait, je parle
you have
jamais en anglais.
You have French followers.
Yes. You can go through the menu navigation with the selection dial. I'm learning new words. You can go through the menu navigation with a selection dial that's on the lens. And also on the lens, you can see... Wait a minute. I have to pause. Because I'm talking about like all the specs and stuff, but I was invited to workshop. I had to sign an NDA, drank coffee, spoke in English, tried the camera in the yard of the building we were in, and I went home. But during the summer, I received the package. By clicking on mode, you can go through all the modes that the camera gives. There is the auto mode. The camera sets up everything you need for the scene. Then there is the aperture mode. On the aperture mode, you set the aperture between f8 and f64, and then the camera sets the shutter speed accordingly. On the shutter mode, you choose use shutter speed between 30 seconds and 250th. And then the camera sets the aperture accordingly. There is the manual mode, so you can set everything yourself. There is a multi-exposure mode which allows you to shoot 2 times, 3 times or 4 times on the same frame. And there is a timer which is great for group photos. Even if you could fire your camera through the Polaroid app, the app allows you to operate your camera via Bluetooth. You can set everything yourself and fire on the Polaroid app. I was surprised on how light and compact the camera is, even if there is no way it could be more compact than an S670. I'm talking a lot about the S670. The viewfinder makes me think of the S670, even though it's a telemetric one. It's a LiDAR technology built by Polaroid, but I didn't understand a word the guy said because I'm not that good in English. So I guess it's pretty good because he was really proud about the LiDAR ranging. The frames through the viewfinder is really easy, and you can know based on the distance between you and the subject how to frame correctly to have your subject in center, for example. The focusing on the I-2 is very sharp and accurate compared to the Now and Now Plus cameras, even if I still have some improvements to make on the close subjects because the closest focusing range is 0.4 meters. Most of the time I think I can shoot macro, but I can't. All the information about shutter speed and aperture and exposure shows on the little screen above the camera, but also show in the viewfinder, which makes it easier to adjust settings while shooting without going to... There are three more details I like about the I-2. The first one is the tripod signal somehow. In the viewfinder you can see an icon with a shaky hand. If you have slow shutter speed, there is this icon that shows you that it might be a little shaky and you should use a tripod to get the best shot ever. The second one is that you can use filter on the lens. It's a 49mm diameter lens. And I can't wait to try my promised filter on it. I don't know what accent do I have. I don't know. I'm trying accent. Sometimes it sounds British, sometimes it sounds... I guess I sound German. And the third one is a 2.5mm flash sync. So you can use your camera in a studio or with external lighting. My opinion on this camera is that at first I was really anxious about a not so good camera with a very good marketing speech about perfection and imperfection and life and stuff. And it's actually a very good camera. I'm not a big instant photographer. I mean, I don't do much instant photography and I'm not that good with it, but the I-2 gave me my best user experience since the SX70 and I'm actually happy with the results of my pictures because let's be honest, most of the time with Polaroid I'm not that satisfied with the image I get. I'm really impressed by the optical quality of the camera with close subjects. The biggest drawback for me is the price because even if it's justified by the quality of the camera you get, it might be a deal breaker for many of us. If you want to explore, express, experiment through instant photography at a higher level, especially if you're doing portraits or still life, it's the best camera for you to do that because it has all it takes to brings your idea to life. Make sure to subscribe, and if you liked my content in English, please tell me so. I'll make more videos like it. I will improve my English through this. I'm terrible. I'm so terrible. At some point, I will not try to have an accent and I will speak like that. Because it's easier for me. My brain is...